Hi friends, it's Amy at Doki Doki Forest, and today I'm going to be sharing with you what I created for Junk Journal January, Day 8 Blossom and Day 9 Hidden. This is a fun open collab challenge hosted by Meg Journals. I will leave that down below. You can also just search hashtag Junk Journal January and see all kinds of beautiful creations and how everyone's interpreted the prompts in different ways. It's really cool. So first up we have Day 8, which is Blossom. So what I did was I grabbed some of my painty papers that I had from using the jelly plate, and I just drew some petals, and I'm cutting those out because I decided what I would like to do is to draw a little flower. I'm just trying to get some different textures and colors just to mix it up a little bit. Then I figured I better draw my flower on here so I know where to place the flower petals. So there's my little guy there, and he's just stretching up to the sun, and he's just opened all of his petals. I just realized that some of the paper I was using there, I forgot it was label paper. So some of it's kind of like a sticky paper, and some of it is just regular printer paper probably. Usually I just grab printer paper for the jelly plate. Sometimes I use other stuff though, like label paper, sticker paper, or, a thicker kind of, not quite, I wouldn't say art paper. It's more like my kids' drawing paper. It's still art paper, but it's not anything fancy. You don't have to buy anything expensive. Back to the day's prompt though. Here we go. I am going to glue these petals down. I'm just trying to mix up the colors so that you don't have the exact same ones next to each other. And then I was going to use two for the leaves, but I thought they blended in with the flower petals up top a little bit too much. So I wind up not using the ones for leaves. I figure I can just paint that instead. And then I just wanted some little ones because when I get to the bottom of the little flower's face, I didn't want the petals to be so big that they cover up the leaves and the little stem underneath. So just getting some little guys on there. And honestly, if I had really thought about this, I probably should have painted the background first and then painted the flower and then put the petals on last. But I don't usually think that far into the future. So all I knew right now was that I wanted to use painty papers. So that's what I'm doing. And then, just go from there. And now I'm just making some grass. Same thing, just some of my old painty papers that I have. And, this one had some yellow and a little bit of pink. So I'm trying to get those little snippets off the edge for a little something different. And some grass, but the grass I thought was a little too green. So I just slapped some more stuff on there just to try to make it a little more textured and break up that green a little bit with, more green. Different green though, different green. And now I'll just use my pen to outline the petals, or not, because that didn't work out too well. So I switched, and now I'm using a Posca marker, and that worked really well because that's acrylic paint. So that writes over the painty papers just fine. And just defining that grass a little bit. And I usually find that when I'm working in my journal, in my art journal, or drawing or illustrating or whatever I'm doing, I find I usually have to go over my black sketch lines a few times. So that was me just darkening them a little bit. And then this grass was like really kind of fluffy and not sticking down, so I was trying trying to get that stubborn grass to stick. And now some watercolor paint. So I am using the shimmer, I believe it's a shimmer set. It might be metallic though, I can't remember. It's Paul Rubens. It's a little set in a pink tin case, and I've really been into using these colors lately. They have a shimmer. I don't know if the camera picks it up here, but in person, they really have a nice shimmer. And you know the white gel pen's coming out because I love the white gel pen. And I just thought I would try to give some different patterns on these painty papers. And now I'm going to paint the background. So next I'm going to use a magical jar from Lindy's Gang. This is Toadstool Taupe, and they're little powders that you can put on a page and then spray them with water. My page was a little bit wet, but I decided to spray with water as well. And then I kind of liked how it looked when I just dabbed it on there. And it's probably thicker than it's supposed to be, but I loved it. It was very shiny and pretty. I have a few of those magical jars, but I have not really used them too much. And this is some Opal Magic paint. It's a really pretty acrylic paint, and it's super shiny and iridescent. So I just kind of wanted it to have a magical feel on the page, so I'm just trying to scratch that on lightly. And then this is just a little bit of gold paint, and I'm using the end of my paintbrush to just try to get some little dots on there. And I thought I could give the flowers some little freckles, little golden freckles. And I kind of like, I do like how the freckles are 3D almost. And now some colored pencils just to try to make a little bit of shadow, bring a little bit more of the colors out, because I felt like I love the shimmer paints, but I felt like the green was just so light and I just wanted to have a little more green. And then I thought I'd add some pink down there, because why not? Just doing some shading. And at the bottom I wrote bloom, because that's what I kept thinking the prompt was, but it's actually blossom. So I'll have to add blossom on there as well. And then I thought I was done, but I had some more of these little painty paper petals. Tongue twister. So I thought I'm gonna just put those on. They're just floating around in the breeze. And then it's done. Okay, now we have day 9, and the prompt was hidden. So I was trying to think what could be hiding. And then I was thinking of how when cats hide and they get real low and they're like hiding in the grass, and they're probably trying to go after a bird or a mouse or chipmunk or something like that. But all I could think of was those like big cat eyes, big black pupils, just looking out from some sort of shrubbery. So that was my inspiration for this page. So here's our kitty, who thinks it's hiding, but we can see it though, so we know it's there. But the kitty thinks it's doing a great job hiding, so that it doesn't know we can see it. And I'm just surrounding this kitty with all kinds of big leaves. Okay, and here is my koi watercolor set. This is a really easy set to keep on my desk, where my desk is just loaded with stuff and I have a little bit of space. I don't have room for my big palette. My koi watercolors can go anywhere and fit anywhere, so I love this set. And I know I'm gonna use a lot of green. I love green. Green's my fave. So let's get all the green in that we can. Some shading. A little bit of sunlight hitting the top of those leaves. And now we have to color in our kitty. So I didn't want to just use straight black paint, so I mixed together a blue and a brown to try to get this black that has a little more depth of color to it. And that's what you can do too. You can just mix your darkest brown and your darkest blue, and you get a color that is black, but it also has those other colors in it, so it's more interesting. It's not as flat as just using straight black watercolor paint. Dry off this kitty because, you know, cats don't like to be wet, so we got to dry that paint quick. And then just adding a little bit of colored pencil for some shading and to add a little pink in the ears. Oh my goodness, I can't forget the little nose. White gel pen. Did you know that was coming, or was that a surprise? That's never a surprise, right? You know that's coming. And then I'm just going over my lines again because I always have to do that after I've done paint and colored pencil. And then I feel like I lose the definition. You don't have to go over the lines if you know, you like how it looks and you don't want, you know, some people don't like the lines, but I just love illustration style, I guess, so I like the lines. So I thought I was done, but nope, I had another idea, because then on my desk I saw this mesh, like a floral ribbon sort of thing, and I thought, even though the idea is that the kitty was hidden, you could still see it, but what if I actually were to hide the kitty? What if I made some leaves out of this ribbon? And I don't want to glue the leaves directly on the page. I want to glue them onto this just scrap of paper that I had. So that way I could make a flap that could really hide the kitty for the most part. And then you could have a little peek. So I get my tacky glue, I glue on my leaves, and then once that's dry, I decided I wanted to have a little bit of paint on the leaves just to make it so they weren't so flat. So just a little gold and a little of this bright light green. And I had some extra paint, so I just threw it on this old envelope that I had, along with some scraps of painty paper that I didn't use before. So I'm using washi tape to make the flap, but I have to reinforce it with the tacky glue because the tape by itself was not sticking well. And then I don't really want to see the tape though, so now I'm ripping up that envelope that I just painted with the extra paint that I didn't know I was going to be using, and I'm just covering up the washi. And I'll just do the same thing to the other side, just covering up the envelope and covering up the washi. And just using all my scraps, like I said from before, my extra paint and my scraps of paper that I had left over from doing the flower page. And then I thought I wanted to make a little space down here that you could write on. So I am painting the dirt. And then I will get my marker once the paint dries, and I will draw on some lines, like little dirt lines that you can journal on. And that does it. So here is my page for Blossom. It still says Bloom, but I did update it and write Blossom as well. And here's my page for Hidden with that little kitty. Meow. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. I hope you have a cozy and creative day, and I'll see you again soon.